Hey everyone! Welcome back to our channel. I'm Ms.Learner and today we're diving into one of the most fascinating topics in biology, classification. Whether you're prepping for your IGCSE biology exam or just curious about how scientists organize life on Earth, this video will make taxonomy feel like second nature. So what's classification? Classification, also called taxonomy, is the science of grouping organisms based on shared characteristics. It's like organizing your wardrobe, but instead of shirts and shoes, we're sorting lions, whales, and rice plants. Scientists look at anatomy, the detailed structure of organisms, and morphology, their overall shape and form. For example, birds and bats both have wings, but their internal structures are very different. Classification helps us understand evolutionary relationships. All mammals, from tiny mice to giant whales, share a common ancestor that lived over 200 million years ago. This is called the common ancestor of all mammals. Therefore, organisms are put into groups when they have common features. That's why all mammals produce milk for their young and birds have feathers. It's a shared trait passed down through generations. So why does classification matter? It allows researchers to understand the evolutionary connections between different species. It also enables researchers to anticipate the traits organisms may possess and systematically arrange biological information into clearly defined groups. And today, DNA sequencing plays a huge role. Organisms that are closely related have similar DNA-based sequences, so if two species share a recent ancestor, their genetic code will look alike. So in summary, the closer two species are on the evolutionary tree, the more alike their DNA is because they split from the same ancestor not too long ago. And if two organisms aren't closely related, they don't share a recent ancestor and that shows up in their DNA, it's less alike. Thanks to DNA analysis, classification is now faster, cheaper, and more accurate. Scientists can compare genetic sequences to identify species and understand how closely related they are. So what's a species? A species is a group of organisms that can reproduce and produce fertile offspring. That means their babies can also grow up and have babies of their own. There's a great variety of species on planet Earth, which is classified into distinct groups by examining the features they have in common. So in summary, when we talk about a species, we mean a group of organisms that can have babies together, and those babies can grow up and have babies too. Plus, they tend to look or function in similar ways. So now let's talk about the classification hierarchy. Let's break down the 7 ranks of classification using a fun mnemonic. King Philip came over for good soup, or King Philip came over for grandma spaghetti. Whatever you like, there is a great deal of mnemonics you can use to memorize the classification hierarchy. So let's take King Philip came over for good soup as our mnemonic. So this stands for kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So we have 7 classification ranks. And these 2 illustrations show you the classification system in diagram form as a pyramidal figure. The more general levels or ranks have the wider bases and the more specific ranks have the narrow bases. So let's take the classification of a red fox as our first example. The kingdom is Animalia, so it's an animal. The phylum is Chordata, and the class is Mammalia, so it's a mammal. The order is Carnivora, so it's carnivorous, only eats meat. The family is Canidae. And the genus is Vulpes, the species is Vulpes as well. And the blue whale is our second example. So the kingdom is Animalia, the class is Mammal, and finally the genus is Balanoptera, and the species is Musculus. So now let's talk about the binomial naming system. Every organism has a specific name which is internationally recognized, and it's made of 2 parts. The first part is the genus name, where its initial is capitalized. And the second part is the species name, where its initial is written in lowercase. Genetic diversity means that members of the same species can differ in appearance, yet they still possess a set of common characteristics that define them enough to make them grouped into one species. For example, all humans are Homo sapiens. Even though we don't all look the same, we share common features and can reproduce successfully. You can think of a genus like a family name for species that are alike. Horses and donkeys, they're in the same genus because they look and behave similarly, but they're not the same species. Sometimes animals from the same genus but different species can mate, but the offspring they produce can't reproduce themselves. A classic example is the mule, born from a horse and a donkey. While mules are strong and useful, they're infertile because their parents aren't from the same species. This slide shows two pictures of a horse and a donkey respectively, and when they reproduce, the offspring is a mule, which is infertile and therefore cannot have its own babies. Here are some examples of binomial names. Magnifera indica, which is the binomial name of mango. The initial of the first word, magnifera, is uppercased, so it's the genus, and the initial of the second word is lowercased, so indica is the species. Vulpes vulpes, which is the red fox. The initial of the first word, vulpes, is uppercase, so it's the genus, and the initial of the second word is lowercase, so the second vulpes is the species. The blue whale, Balanoptera musculus. The genus is Balanoptera and the species is musculus. And our last example, rice, which is Oryza sativa. Its genus is Oryza and its species is sativa. Now it's quiz time. We're going to solve a couple of questions together. So let's test your knowledge. Question 1. The scientific name for the golden eagle is Aquila crisatus. What's the genus? A. Aquila, B. crisatus, C. eagle, or D. golden? Pause the video and drop your answer in the comments. If you answered A, then you guessed right. The first word in the binomial name of an organism, which its initial is capitalized, that is the genus name of the organism, so it's A, Aquila. Question 2. Which of the following is true about species? 1. All members look identical. 2. They belong to the same genus. 3. They produce fertile offspring. 4. They're named using an international system. We have to choose the correct combo. So regarding number 1, no, and we can exemplify it by us Homo sapiens. We're the same species, but we're all a bit different due to genetic diversity. Regarding number 2, yes, same species means same genus. Regarding number 3, yes, organisms of the same species produce fertile offspring. Number 4, yes, the binomial naming system is an internationally recognized naming system. So the answer is D, 2, 3, and 4 only. The first statement is the only one incorrect. So let's have a quick oral recap. Classification helps us understand life's diversity and evolutionary history. Species are defined by their ability to reproduce and produce fertile offspring. DNA sequencing has revolutionized how we classify organisms. And the binomial naming system keeps the classification of living things organized across the globe. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more biology breakdowns, and share it with your study group. Check the video description for credits and resources. Until next time, stay curious, stay brilliant. Bye!